9 a.m. walk in the local park, and it's already 25 degrees. The air quality is not great today. There was a small fire south of us where a car caught fire and pulled over, and the grass at the side of the road caught fire and spread. So the air is full of smoke. Not so that you're smelling it really strongly, but it's very hazy. Planning to do the whole loop of the park today, which will probably take about an hour. So I brought my swimsuit because I'm going to be super, super hot by then. Hello, lovely people. It's Nicola back in the Stitches and Slapdashery sewing room. I hope you're all doing well. It's baking hot here in British Columbia, Canada. It's BC Day tomorrow, so it's a long weekend, and coincidentally, I managed to get a long weekend myself because that's how my shifts landed. Mr. Stitches took off Friday so he could get a 4-day weekend, and he has the benefit of my company for the whole weekend. Poor man. Anyway, I've been having a great few days since the last vlog of obsessive slow stitching. That scrappy fabric that I built in the last vlog, I have been manically embroidering on it from the beautiful collection of embroidery flosses that my friend gave me last week. And I'll show you that in a minute. What else have I been doing? I have been watching a couple of shows. I've made good progress on the sweater sleeve, the second sleeve, because I have been watching a Harlan Coben thing on Netflix. It's called Missing You. And it was just a short series, but it meant that come about 8 o'clock in the evening, when I had done some stitching and everything else I needed to do, I would pick up the knitting and do some rounds on the sleeves. So that worked out really well. And I think I have only maybe 12 rounds of stockinette and 6 of ribbing to go. So I'll show you that as well. It's funny. I've read this really chunky book this week, and I took it to work one of the days. So I got this out. Sorry, I've got a lot of clutter on the table here. I took this to work one day. I got it out of the library last Saturday, and I started reading it the same day. I was at work Monday, and I took it with me to read during my lunch break. And one of the other staff was like, "It would take me a year to read that. I really only read when I'm on holiday." And I'm like, well, I like having a book to read. It's not exactly as essential for me as it is to have craft projects on the go, but it's nice to have a novel now and again. And it's super thick, but there's a reason why it's extra thick. It's a large print book, and you know how much my eyes love large print books. It's David Baldacci, I don't know if that's how you say it, Baldacci. It's called The Fix. Let's see, give you a quick précis. It's kind of hard. It's sort of a law enforcement novel, I suppose you'd call it. Main character is this Amos Decker, who apparently had a nasty accident, and his memory is absolutely perfect. And a couple of years ago, his wife and son were killed, and he has absolutely perfect recall of it and everything else that happened in his life. And he can't let any of the memories go because of his brain being really weird. His character changed somewhat when he had the accident. But he's working with the FBI. They end up working with another of the government departments, and they have to solve a thing, right? Basically it. That's basically it. I quite enjoyed it. So that got read this week. I've started another one. It's a Ken Follett, and I can't remember what it's called right now, but it's another giant large print book. Why not? I'll let you know what I think about it maybe next time. In other books, I had put so many collage books on hold at the library. This one that came in this weekend was called Collage Playground, a fresh approach to creating mixed media art. It's by Kimberly Santiago. I've only had a quick flick through it so far. It's okay. It's probably not going to inspire me to try anything different here. That collage I made Wednesday's vlog. That collage I made, which I was super embarrassed about, and I even put a pinned comment underneath that video on Wednesday that said, "I don't know why I showed you that because it was so goddamn ugly." It's in the bin now. I didn't come in here for a couple of days, and then I came down here and I saw it on my sewing table, and I thought, it's awful. I'm going to throw it away and forget it ever existed. Please don't go back and look at it. If you haven't seen it, don't bother. It's not worth it. But yeah, I'll have another look at this at some point. I only picked it up yesterday. And the other one, I can't remember who suggested this, but this is called Victorian House Cats to Knit. Who'd have thought there'd be a book about Victorian house cats? So she recommended, or I'm saying they, just be on the safe side, recommended this book because they thought I would enjoy flicking through it, even if I don't actually knit the cats. And so it's almost like a story about Victorian house and the rooms and characters in the house. And then for each of the rooms, there's a cat. I really like this one. Let's show you this one. It's called the Library Cat. And these are actual knitting patterns. And this one is a cat that's lying on its back, flat out, fast asleep. Let's find another one. This one's cool. It's just sitting there, licking its paw, grooming itself. Very clever. Probably far more complex of a pattern that I am going to attempt. But I do want to spend more time with this book and read the text in it, if not knit up the patterns, because it's very fun. And there's a lot of work being put into that. I'm going to put that one on the floor for now. I had a little thrift store shop this week with mixed results. What I ended up doing, I don't go into Value Village very often, Value Village, because I know it's like the American Goodwill, right? It's just a profit-making thing. It's not really a charity shop. It's not really a thrift shop anymore. The stuff in there is really overpriced most of the time. But I had been thinking of going in there to look for a backing for that quilt top I made. Where did I put that quilt top? Where did I put that quilt top? Hold that thought. Seeing as I'm mentioning the quilt top, seeing as I'm mentioning the quilt top, I thought I'd better show you in case you haven't seen it. So this was a string-pieced quilt top, super fast, super easy to make, very random, very crazy colors. And I put all this together not long ago, but I didn't have a piece of fabric that was big enough to go on the back of it. And I thought, okay, either I'll get to a fabric store and maybe pick up some bargain center fabric for like $3 a meter. Haven't done that yet because it's a bit of a drive. Or I thought I could go to a thrift shop and find a sheet or something that would work to go on the back of it. So Value Village, back to Value Village again. Verver Boutique, as some people call it. I found this sheet, and in one way, I'm kind of regretting my purchase. It's got a nice neutral pattern on it. It's just got arrows on it. It's grey. Every single colour under the sun in that quilt top. So really, I could have picked anything. But I thought that would work. It's a queen size sheet. It was $5.99, I think. So I washed it. And then I realised it wasn't cotton. And it's got quite a nice feel on the front. It doesn't feel, like those old nylon sheets, which would just make you all staticky and sweaty if you slept on them or under them. It's got quite a nice feel to it, even if it is polyester. The back, not so much. But the back would be hidden inside, wouldn't it? Once I had quilted it and bound it and everything. So a little bit of buyer's remorse on this because I really wasn't thinking straight. I should have checked the fibre content while I was in the shop. And of course, you can't take anything back to them. So I'm stuck with it. So two choices there. I could keep it and actually use it as a sheet. One of the kids could use it on their bed maybe, because I have a nice bamboo set. So I'm not going to use a polyester sheet on my bed. Or I could just go ahead and put it on the back, quilt it, and hope for the best. Haven't yet decided what to do about that. One other thing I did pick up, there was a few other things. I also bought 3 sheer curtain panels, which were almost like a voile or something like that, but beautiful colors, like a pink, a blue. Actually, it may have been more than 3. It may have been pink, blue, gold, and turquoise, something like that. Because I'm volunteering with the festival again this September, the vegan festival, and I'm responsible for gathering as many donations as I can for the goodie bags. There's going to be 100 goodie bags again for the first 100 people. through the proverbial gate, because there won't be a gate. It's in a park. And silent auction. We try and get as many baskets filled as we can to auction them off to raise money for charity. It's going to be a climate action based charity this year. So I need to start amassing baskets, and also pretty fabric to go in the baskets is what I'm finally getting to. So I saw these lovely lengths of fabric for $2.99 each, so I bought a few of those. I also found some more rubber stamps to add to my collection. Even though I don't do a humongous amount of rubber stamping, I rather liked these. Obviously, the colour on there is just an idea of how you might colour it in if you're stamping on paper. But yeah, they're flowers. So we've got sunflowers and this rather cute little one here. The light's kind of catching it, isn't it? So hopefully you can see that. And then another little one. So just little arty-farty flowers. So those were fun. So those are going to go in my rubber stamp box. I also want to get hold of some rubber stamp ink that's actually permanent, and I think that at least one of the rubber stamp pads or types of rubber stamp pads at Michael's might be permanent. So I am going to probably test those out at some time soon. I did a little shorts video the other day. I saw some yarn at Michael's that was so tempting. It was called Lion Brand Respun, and judging by the amount of stashed balls of yarn on Ravelry, it's not actually new, but it's the first time I've seen it, and it's the first time I've seen it at Michael's. So I did a little shorts of a scan of all the colours and all that. It's $10.99. It's a big skein, 10-ounce skein. And I would get my staff discount off it. But what I really, really hope is going to happen is that in August there's going to be a yarn sale, and then I can get the sale price and my staff discount. But I've given myself a get out clause here. I'm going to allow myself to buy a ball of it, because I am going to do a review on the vlog. And in order to do the review, I am going to make a beanie. I found a rather nice pattern. Now let me just check my notes, because it's got a long name. It's called the Snowy Wheat Puff Crochet Hat. And did I write down who the designer is? Brianna K Designs. Yep. So Brianna K. I've done a little screen recording, which I'll probably be putting in here right now. And it's got a beautiful stitch pattern. And it's actually constructed sideways. So you're working on it, so you see it, that the puff stitches are making columns, but you're working it that side to side. And it looks quite simple. And even though the Ravelry pattern page says you can buy the pattern for something like $7, there's a free YouTube video. So I'll just follow the YouTube video. And then I'll have a really good idea about whether I like the yarn, and I can do a little review video for you. So that gives me an excuse to buy that. Also, I have 2 weeks completed of my fitness program now. And I even went into Canva and I made a little achievement unlocked doohickey, which I'll probably also be putting on screen right now, if that works, because it's fun and I just wanted to do that. And as I said, again, I'm waiting, holding out for a sale. And so what I will be doing is, if it does go on sale, I will get the yarn balls that I have earned while they're on sale. I'm thinking it's going to be Loops and Threads Impeccable, because that's a really reliable brand. It's not like Michael's are about to stop making or selling their own brand of Impeccable, I hope. So as I mentioned before, excuse me, getting croaky. The plan is to make something called the New Page Shawl. And I can't remember who the designer is. It's something like Hilda Panagari. I don't know how you say that, but I'll put the patterns and stuff that I talk about in the description box under the video as usual. And I'm going to, as I do my 3 workouts a week and reward myself with yarn, I shall collect enough yarn to make this shawl. I'm going to need quite a lot of colours. I'm going to need probably 2 shades of pink, 2 shades of green, 2 shades of blue, 2 shades of orange, that sort of thing. And then also my main colour, which will probably be like an off-white. It's going to take weeks, but that's a good thing, because the more different yarns I want, then the more extrinsic motivation I will have to keep exercising. I'm really glad I'm doing it, though. It's funny, as soon as you even just do one workout, you amazingly feel fitter straight away, just because you're actually doing something that you know you should be doing anyway. Ah dear. Another thing I'm going to do today, I'm about to do this. I have cut out the fabric, and I will show you that as well, is a headband. That stretchy knit rayon thing last week was kind of uninspiring. Yes, it would work, but it's not very pretty. And so what I have done is I found a tutorial online by someone called Anjurisa, Anjurisa, on YouTube, and it's a cotton headband. And so it's quite a nice, fairly wide band. It's got a little bit of batting in for smoosh, and the back part of it is the same fabric with elastic through it. So it looks the same as the headband, but crumpled up because it's got the elastic in. So I've cut the pieces out exactly as she said. I wish I had some elastic that was maybe 1/2 inch wide, because this is the piece that you're going to be folding over and do your thing. And yeah, I'm thinking really 1/2 inch wide would be best. I just gave you a sneak peek of the fabric there. But all I have is either really wide stuff or really narrow stuff. So I don't know whether this is going to be wide enough. I could use 2 strands of it. I just feel if you go for something that's too thin, it's going to stretch out in a short time, and then you're going to be having to like unpick the thing and put more elastic in. So I think I might double this up because it's only thin. So yeah, let's get going on the sewing. Let's just give you a little close-up of what I've done on this so far. So it's just scraps of fabric, quilt cottons out of the stash scrap bag, with batting on the back. And I have made an effort to be a lot more neat with my finishing this time. No long ends. So I've used the print on the fabric to guide what I sew with the embroidery thread. There's still quite a bit that needs doing. I've been around this and I've put a French knot in the middle, but I want to add extra in here. Been down the stem of there. I've added some bits in here. Gone around most of the owls now, I think. Done this flower. I put some chain stitch in there. That's what it's called. I think they're chain stitches. There's a lot of running stitch in this and back stitches. It's pretty simple. I don't know a lot of fancy stitches, but you don't really need that because there's so much colour here. You don't need a lot of fancy stitches. I have made an effort to make some joining stitches between the scraps in places where the batting was maybe peeking out. I will overlap fabrics more the next time I do this. So with this, I just did stitches across between the lines of the pattern. These are the bits I'm enjoying a lot. There's another section over here which has got these flowers on. So what I do is I do running stitch along here and then French knots. So this is what I'm about to do next with the deep pink, as I'm going to put French knots in there. I just went around those peace signs. This was fun. This leafy section is really pretty. I did consider doing the chain, the loopy stuff, the chainy stitches. I think they're called chain stitches. They make a lazy daisy type thing, I think it used to be called way back when. I was going to go around, but it just looked wrong because they were coming out the wrong size. So in the end, I just went over the vertical lines in the middle of each leaf. This is another fun section where I did straight lines across the orangey fabric, put French knots in the black bits, did some more stitching in the middle. There are some sections which I haven't done yet. This is far from finished. I need to do something inside this pink area. Now, where's the thing I wanted to particularly show you? Are we there yet? Hang on, I need to look around the camera because there was one place which I had a lot of fun with last night. And can I see it now? No. Oh, well, we'll get to it. I love this flower. I don't buy a lot of brown fabric, but this was such a fun fabric. The brown with the lovely colourful things on it. Very vintagey looking. More owls. More of this section. More of this pattern here, which I need, again, to do something over the petals. These lovely French knotty bits. Emphasize the little flower centre there. Oh, that. I was talking about that and I forgot. So I'll see how close I can get here. So here I did 9 spokes with the yellow, and then I wove under and over with the pink. I rather enjoyed doing that part. So that's it so far. I think it's going to be challenging trying to work on it while I am recording, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But I love it so far. And when I finished echoing the patterns on the fabric, I'm going to add more traveling stitches all the way across so that it hopefully pulls it all together a bit. It's quite a random assortment of fabrics at the moment, but I'm really having fun picking the floss colors, which is mostly just put my hand into the bag of floss and pull out whatever and then decide where it goes. And then I'm going to do some more working across to make sure that the raggedy bits on the edges of the fabric pieces are all held down. And then what I will do is I will decide how much I'm going to need to trim off, what fabric I can put on the back, and then it will become a wrap for this notebook. So it will go like this, probably, and have a wrapping cord of some kind. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's like when you've made a quilt top and then you sandwich it with the batting and the backing and then you trim all of the messy edges off. It's going to look so lovely. But I know I'm going to lose some of my edgy bits, like that lovely little bit of stitching I did there. It's probably going to end up being trimmed off in the end. But that's all right. Having fun. I'm so annoyed with myself. I broke my phone screen. It's not the phone screen, it's the protector of the phone screen. But the last 3 mornings, Mr. Stitches and I have been out in the morning to have our walk about 8 or 9 o'clock. It's still too hot then. I may have already said this. But when we were walking in the local park, I did get some footage, which I'm going to be putting in at some point. I pulled my phone out of my pocket and dropped it. So what happened was we're just walking along the trail. It's getting to the end of our walk. Mr. Stitches gets a couple of notifications on his phone, so he stops to look at them. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe I could pull my phone out, get a little extra footage for the vlog. So I pull it out. It's in. I've got this pair of leggings which I got from Costco, which I absolutely love. They're my favorite. They kind of feel like they suck all the flab in really well. And they've got pockets on each thigh. I love it. So I can slide my phone in there. I have to switch pockets on the regular because it gets kind of hot because of that plastic next to your skin or close to your skin. Anyway, I'm waffling again. So I pull it out of my pocket and I fumble it and it falls on the ground. Of course, it's got the OtterBox on it and the clear thing on the screen. But of course, it doesn't land. It's like if you drop a piece of toast, you know it's going to land marmalade or jam side down, right? Yep, it landed screen side down and there must have been a little rock. So it just went really flat. And there must have been a small rock and it got the screen. And so I've got this little, almost like a bullet hole and a spidery all over my phone screen now. And yeah, I could live with it a while. But Mr. Stitches went and ordered another pack of 3 screen protectors for me. Well, for us, really. I'll need one, but it's nice to have a few in backup just in case, right? But that's the first time I've ever done that. In all the years I've had a cell phone, I've never damaged a screen like that before. And it's so annoying. You're trying to read what's on the screen sometimes, and you're like, that word is right behind where my damage is. And sometimes you're scrolling and you're using your finger across the screen and you can feel it and it feels like broken glass. It's horrible. I'm just grateful I didn't break my phone because this is what I use to record and I don't have any other way of recording. I'm really glad. My camera is good. My phone's good. All right. Back to the idea of the headband. I know I showed you this fabric after I bought it, but that was probably a couple of months ago. But it is so beautiful. It's a quilt themed fabric. It almost looks like quilt blocks in places, and it's actually got like quilt themed words on parts of it. And it's lovely because it's lime and turquoise, which are 2 of my favorite colors. So when it came to cutting the strips for the headband, I was luckily able to cut a strip from the edge and not like have to fussy cut from the middle of the fabric because that would have been wasteful. So that's what I did. I cut a strip from the edge, and then there was a secondary strip for the elasticated part in the back neck and a small piece of batting. Pushing a floppy piece of cotton quilt batting into a cotton fabric tube is interesting, to say the least. We're going to do a try on now. This is it. I made sure to center one of those diamonds right on the top front. Very simple project, very quick to make. Just hoping this little elasticy bit isn't going to be too bulky. She modeled it at the end, and she has long hair, so of course that elasticy bit on her is hidden. Wow, I was thinking maybe I should make it a bit shorter, but I'm glad I didn't because it's quite tight. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. That's interesting. Okay, so I think, now I said last time I'm not a headband wearer as a rule, but I was thinking that if I decided to grow my hair out, big if, then I would need something to help disguise the crappy hair arrangement while it grew out. I don't really want it behind my ears because those will stick out. Okay, I can see this isn't going to work for me at the moment. The reason is that this elastic part's too long for me, I think. I would prefer it, see, where this is ending here, it's right on my ear, the smooth part. And so the elastic part is long. So I think what I would rather do is extend this nice wide soft band further and make this bit shorter. I could push it behind my ears, but I don't know if I like that. I've got big ears. So it would work, but it's quite tight. I guess with the sewing of these two pieces together, you lose some of the length, which obviously you want negative ease so it doesn't fall out. I think it would look better on someone with more hair. And yeah, if I make any more of these, I would definitely want this part to be shorter. And you know what? I did put a double strand of elastic in, but I think I would just go with one because it would be softer and less clingy. Yeah, I don't really suit headbands, I don't think. My hair colour's annoying me as well. It's so light. I think I have a tiny, tiny bit of something left in the bathroom cabinet upstairs. I might put it on this weekend and then call it quits for a while. It's a nice style. It's a super easy tutorial. So I'll definitely link it in the description box. But I think it needs tweaking if I was to actually consider wearing it. Hey, this won't go to waste. Maybe I can give it to a friend if I decide not to wear it myself. I think I've talked about almost everything I was going to talk about except for the sweater. So I'm very glad to say that I have plenty of yarn to finish. I'm nowhere near running out of yarn. I'm almost finished the sleeve and I still have 2 balls of this colour left. So that's great. So I'm not going to run out. This is the Fall Bluff pullover and I cannot remember who the designer is. Again, I'll leave the link underneath. It'll be a Ravelry link because I love Ravelry and I'm on there every single day. All right, excuse any jangly janglies from the high needles. All right, here we go. So it's a top-down raglan. You start with a neckband and I used a smaller circ for the neckband. The pattern is so basic. She uses the same size needle for the ribbing as well as the body of the sweater. She asks for no decreasing over the sleeve. There's no waist shaping. There's no back neck short rows or anything. It would be a great first sweater if you hadn't made a sweater before. But I did use, instead of the 10 mil that I used for the body, I used 8mm needles for the ribbing because I wanted some bringing in, you know. So it all went well. It's going to be quite oversized and that's how I planned it. So with the first sleeve, I ended up doing some decreases down the sleeve. There were only 50 stitches because it's a super bulky yarn. There were only 50 stitches at the top of the sleeve and I ended up with, I think, 40 by the time I got to the cuff. And then I only had to decrease 8 around the cuff instead of her method of decreasing or everything just before the cuff. It's Yarn Smith's Create Super Chunky. And it's 100% acrylic. It's a 100-gram ball for 80 meters and it's machine washable and dryable. And Yarn Smith's Create is Wool Warehouse in the UK's own brand. So let's see, second sleeve, where are we? Here we are. Second sleeve still has the needles on because I am about 3/4 of the way there, I would say. Maybe more than 3/4. So when I have bound off and woven in all my ends, I will be adding some stuff to the front of that. Let me just grab the thing I made before. Dropping yarn everywhere. This was my swatch cap, as Elizabeth Zimmerman used to call it. I didn't weave the ends in because I didn't know if I was going to unravel it and use it in the sweater. As it is, I will not have to. So I made a swatch cap because it's an excellent gauge swatch because it's in the round and it's big enough that you get a reliable stitches per inch and rows per inch measurement, or per 4 inches really, and divide by 4. So I think what I might do with my contrasts, let me grab those while we're at it. These are my contrast yarns. Crazy bright, no? That needs to be a thumbnail. I'm going to have to take a photograph afterwards. So the plan, which you'll know if you've been watching for a while, is to put a whole bunch of embellishing on the front of the sweater with these contrast colors, like an explosion from a center point. I don't know if it's going to work. So I thought, how sensible would it be? I'm not always sensible, but this time I'm going to be sensible, and I'll do a little tiny bit of practice on here to see whether a yarn needle works best or a crochet hook works best, and do a mini explosion right here on the hat. And if it works out and I do it on the sweater, I have a matching set. How awesome is that? Someone going up the road, braving the heat. Good for them. Whistling. You can probably hear that. So, very close to getting to that embellishing phase, which will hopefully happen soon. And I will probably have to do that with like some cardboard stuffed inside the sweater. So obviously I don't accidentally catch the back. And I'll have to do it flat on my sewing table here because I don't think doing it on my lap upstairs would be a good idea because I'd probably get the tension all wrong and I'd end up with a whole ton of puckering or something. I know I've said before that my concern would be that the tension might be bad and sort of skew things and it would look terrible, but also it might add enough weight to the front of the sweater that it just sort of weighs it down and looks bad. But I won't know until I do it. So we'll see how that works out then. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the knitting when it's not too sweaty knitting, because the hands get very hot sometimes. And I think I'm going to enjoy playing with these colors when the time comes. And it's really good to have the plain knitting to do while you're watching Netflix. I don't think I mentioned the other show I've watched this week. It was definitely not a knitting or crocheting series. It's on Britbox. It's called Code of Silence. And if you've seen it, you'll know that the main character in that is deaf. So there's quite a lot of sign language. And there's an ASL version, I think, and a non-ASL version. And I accidentally watched episode 3 in the non-ASL. But it was really interesting because the first 2 episodes I watched in ASL, there was actually a little person on the side of the screen signing for the spoken parts of the the hearing people. And of course, with the subtitles and with the signing, you need to be able to watch the screen as much as possible. You can't be looking at your knitting or your crochet while that's going on. So the Netflix one I watched that I mentioned earlier in this vlog definitely worked well because I was able to pay attention to the knitting and watch the show. But the Code of Silence on Britbox, not so much. It's still a good show, just not made for crafters who need to look at their work now and again. Well, I think we've come to the end of the chat for today. Oh, I have to say, thank you for the 2 people who commented that they absolutely cracked up when I was talking about the bras last week. I love getting feedback on the parts of the vlogs you enjoy the most. And last Wednesday, I talked about how I was taking out some of the excess fabric in the bra straps because they had stretched out over time, as they do. And rather than go bra shopping, I needed to kind of hoist them up a bit. And I made some comment about not hoisting them up too far in case, the boobs ended up falling out the bottom band. I think a few people got a good laugh out of that. So I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'm all about adding some humor and being real on this vlog. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. And I'm going to go have some lunch and do some editing. Thanks so much for watching. Love to have you here. Hope you enjoyed yourself. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.